Oh boy, I had a feeling this would happen. Please stop it with the nostalgia bait. It's time. It's time to finally let go of the past. It seems that the last decade has been in a cultural stasis. Constant reboots, rejuvenating old established IP, making movies off of nostalgia for the past. Everything is looking backwards. Even the quote-unquote successful blockbuster movies are still stuck on the past. I love Happy Gilmore. It's one of my all-time favorite comedies, and definitely my favorite Adam Sandler movie. I can't even count how many times I've probably seen it in my life. And it was probably the first thing that actually introduced me to the game of golf, a hobby that I love to this day. Happy Gilmore was not just important for comedy, but for the game of golf, showing how it can be a game for anyone, not just uptight elitist country club members. But this is not 1996 anymore. Adam Sandler is well past his prime, and honestly hasn't made a relevant movie in a long time. Happy Gilmore 2 is just nostalgia bait slop. And why is it that all of these sequels of movies happen far too late than they should have? The time for Happy Gilmore 2 was 20 years ago. It's too late. And in every one of these sequels, it's the same trope. A once heralded main character who's been broken down in old age. They are now a shell of their former self. They lost all faith and need to remember who they used to be. This is a metaphor for where we are as a culture. We are paralyzed creatively. The only things that get made are things that revere the past. Just as these characters look back to the past, so do we, because we're not even sure if we can make things that we used to make. It's like the endless Toy Story and Shrek sequels. There's only so many ways you can retell a story that should have been wrapped up 3 movies ago. The only thing we can do is desecrate these once beloved characters. In this movie, Happy is now a sad alcoholic who has lost everything. And that's literally all the jokes in the beginning of the movie, him drinking alcohol out of every conceivable object. Happy even kills his wife on accident by hitting her with a drive. She even goes on to bitch at Happy from the afterlife about how her depiction of her from his happy place in Happy Gilmore 1 is now problematic in 2025. This movie served as nothing other than a reason to have an endless number of celebrity cameos. I mean, they threw in literally everyone they could think of. John Daly, Eric Andre, Eminem, Dan Patrick, Travis Kelce, and pretty much every pro golfer on tour. And they shouldn't have kept throwing in scenes from the original movie, because all that made me think is how much better it is than this piece of shit. This may be a controversial opinion, but I think bad, unnecessary sequels can ruin a franchise's legacy. That's why I never watched The Rings of Power, even though I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I could just tell from the trailers that I would hate it, because it's not Lord of the Rings in any sense. So why would I watch something that would knowingly desecrate the legacy of the original films that made this piece of shit even possible? It would only serve to piss me off seeing how greedy studios will use a piece of beloved media for profit, not love of the source material. Adam Sandler's peak has come and gone, and that's okay. Everyone has their moment, and his peak was as good as anyone's. That he went to this low-hanging fruit to tarnish the legacy of one of his most beloved characters to try and make a relevant film again. I would honestly respect Sandler if he went with something more original and swung and missed, rather than play it safe and make something uninspired and stuck in the past. This movie is not funny at all. I guess that's what happens when most of the people in the cast aren't even professional actors. But then again, what comedy has been funny in the past 15 years? And another problem with this movie, it looks like absolute shit. I had a bad feeling when I saw the first image of this movie drop. The cinematography tries to be too pristine and flawless. The color grade is way too heavy, and just nothing about this movie looks natural, the way a comedy should look. It looks absolutely nothing like the original. If you compared frames of the two, you would think this is trying to be some dramatic Netflix slop series, the way it looks. And this movie is way too aware of itself, too self-referential. Everyone knows the legacy of Happy Gilmore and the impact it had on comedy and golf, but this film has to make reference to that fact constantly. I don't want to see Hot Ones or a real-life podcast in this movie. I don't give a fuck what Stephen A. Smith has to say about actual sports. So why would I want to hear what he's saying about a fictional golfer in a fictional golf tournament? That's not what it's about. I'm trying to escape all that shit and fall into the story. Not every movie made nowadays has to be meta and self-aware. And what's most ironic is this movie's message basically uses the dynamic between the PGA and the LIV Golf Tour, about how the pursuit of money and profit takes away from what makes the game of golf so cherished, and the need to keep tradition alive. Yet this movie chose to sell out rather than be a true successor to the original. Chubbs is probably turning in his grave right now. I know I sound like I'm just being a Debbie Downer, but I'm sorry, classic films like Happy Gilmore mean something to me and a lot of other people. They are not something to be played around with, so you can get all of your celebrity buddies in the new movie for cameos, make it look like shit, so you can make the top 10 list on Netflix. Happy Gilmore 2 is an objectively bad movie with no heart or soul. It thinks if it can throw a bunch of celebrity cameos at you, then that makes it a good film. In the end of the movie, they're not even playing real golf, just a hyper-extreme version of golf with fire on the fairway and a spinning green. As a golf fan, why would I care about watching this? Happy Gilmore 2 was not made out of love for the original film. It was made for modern algorithms because they know what plays, what gets hype and what gets trending on social media, so Netflix can get more hits on their streaming service. I will quite literally never watch this movie again, but I will watch the original Happy Gilmore for the rest of my life. And that's not just out of nostalgia for it, it's because it was made for the right reasons, to be original and appease the audience, not an algorithm. Like Dr. Ian Malcolm once said, "You were so preoccupied with whether you could, you didn't stop to think if you should." And they should not have with Happy Gilmore 2.